The Great Resignation is upon us, potentially. In the US, we've seen droves of employees up and leave their employer after 2 years of a global pandemic. The new way of working has given employees an insight into the freedoms and opportunities that exist for them now. But will we see the same changes to the Australian workforce? Early indications suggest that resignations are actually down in Australia. And perhaps it's too early to tell, but employers should ready themselves in the event that a wave of mass resignations take place. And that's not sticking your finger in holes trying to make up for a workforce that's no longer there. That's actually thinking about how will you attract the next wave of talent into your business and optimizing the talent that you have to ensure that your company never misses a beat. Before we dive into that, let's think about why employees may be resigning. Traditionally, you'd go to your boss and say, "Hey, do you mind if I work from home today? Got something on, need to work around it." And your employer would scratch his chin and say, "You know what, I'll do you this favor." Think about it now. More often than not, you are working from home. And coming into the office is that 1 day a week thing that a company does to maintain culture and have the entire organization in one place at the same time. Employees are now more aware than ever before that most jobs can be done remotely. So you don't need to be commuting into an office, sometimes for up to an hour each way, in order to do your job. It's been proven that a lot of times you can do your job from home, the comfort of your lounge room or home office. With the cost of living in Australia escalating, we've seen employees move to regional areas or other states where the cost of living is lower, therefore allowing their dollar to go a little bit further. So as an employer, how do you capitalise on the potential for a great resignation? It's important that you have your employee value proposition aligned so that when you attract someone into your organisation, you're doing what you say you're doing. Now, we're not going to dive into employee value proposition here because this is not my area of expertise and other people do it much better. But we do want to cover some of the things that an employer should consider when trying to attract talent into their business. Relational factors seems to be something that's really been prioritised by employees of late. When I say relational, I mean the strength of the bond between an employer or the organisation. Think about it. Many employees have been adrift, working from home, working remotely without the contact that is often afforded by a workplace. In order to attract the next wave of talent, it's critical for managers to make their employees feel valued and to see that they have a role to play in the success of the organisation. Now, this seems commonsensical, but remember, a lot of these people haven't been in the workplace for a number of years, and working remotely is hard to receive feedback and reinforcement as to the job that you're doing, the value that you add. Younger members of your workforce, Generation Z for example, are known to look for a sense of belonging. What they're doing is having an impact within your organisation. So it's critical that you can show to them that they belong to your organisation and what they are doing is making a difference. Flexibility. It's kind of the accepted now. Employees expect and know that they can work and do their job from a variety of locations, and it's really critical for employers to continue to respect that fact. Now, obviously you want some guidelines around it, but there's no point bringing someone to their organisation and saying you need to be here 9 to 5 if the job doesn't actually demand that. Being a flexible employer and taking into consideration the requirements of your staff is critical in ensuring that they are engaged and will stick around. Meaningfulness. Having your staff understand that their work is meaningful is often a more powerful attractor than salary. Now, that may sound weird because we all naturally assume that people will go to the largest dollar. But in the last couple of years where people have felt untethered and unconnected, operating in a role or working with people where there's meaning can give people a sense of purpose and really make them feel as if they belong to the organisation. It's really important that you convey to your employees that the work that they're doing is making a tangible difference to the business and the success that you're having. Not every task is going to be on the leading edge of meaningfulness. Every organisation has the mundane that needs to be done in order to get things moving ahead within the organisation. But it's really important in your feedback to your staff or your employees that you convey to them that what they're doing matters. Understanding your workforce is critical, and by that I mean taking into consideration the mental health and well-being of your employees. Once again, we've gone through an unprecedented time where people have been on their own or in isolated situations. A greater focus has come about on the well-being and mental health of staff. As a manager, being better attuned to the mental health and well-being of your staff has become critical. People have gone through trying times over the last number of years, and it's really important to recognise the ebbs and flows of how people are feeling and how they're operating within the workplace. Regular mental health check-ins or mental wellness days are really important to young people in particular because they're even more cognizant of their mental well-being than generations that have preceded them. So what are some other things that you can do to optimise your workforce? Identify top talent. Bright people can work anywhere. Now, if you're looking for a brain surgeon, you probably need someone who's fully trained in that. But oftentimes, bringing top talent into your organisation actually gives you some flexibility. Identifying top talent is a really smart way to energise your workforce. Roll the dice and hire someone really bright, even if their skills and attributes may not perfectly align to your job description. Surrounding yourself with bright people, I can speak from personal experience, will make your life easier. But also, these people are often very adaptable and able to take on a multitude of tasks. Number 2, make sure your organisation's values align to your employees. I've come to realise with a bit of age and experience that if my values align to my employees' values, we're probably going to be able to make it work. Another thing to consider is how you go about providing feedback to your employees. Remember, the next generation of your workforce are long past the days of quarterly or annual performance reviews. Young people tend to respond better to strength-based feedback, as in, this is what you're doing well and this is how we plan to move forward. Giving feedback after the fact has proven to be dated and less effective than actually goal setting and working forward with your workforce. This is another way to engage them and obviously to give them a clear overview of your expectations. And finally, and perhaps most importantly, the biggest determinant of whether or not someone will stay with your organisation or actually have a meaningful experience is the strength of their manager. People typically leave their job because they don't get along or like their manager. So it's really important that not only are you recruiting the right people into your business, you are ensuring that your managers are doing a good job of actually managing that workforce. If you have good managers who can empower, provide meaningful opportunities and good feedback, you're likely to have a well-engaged and highly productive workforce. Think about it. Many people have The third thing to consider is strength-based doorbells. The sense of connection that in order to